Near mint condition, the home of collected editions.
That cover's so awesome.
Absolute format is the best way to own this store. Time to empty those wallets and fill those shelves. How's it going, all you minties? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And join me today for my overview of the Geiger Deluxe edition from Image Comics. So let's go ahead and get started. And welcome back, everybody. So what we're looking at here today is the Geiger Deluxe edition. This book just recently came out, and I wanted to talk about it because I have the trade paperback, and I really enjoyed it. So much so that as soon as this was announced, I ended up giving it away from one of our giveaways. I don't have it to compare it to, though, so that's the only downside to giving things away. Image Comics, Geiger Deluxe Edition, Johns, Frank, Anderson, Lay, and then the Ghost Machine logo. And that is the new imprint from Geoff Johns. Geoff Johns, Gary Frank, Brad Anderson, Bob Lay, Deluxe Edition, and the Geiger cover. Who is the glowing man? That is the question. So here's the back of the book, and the retail price of this is $34.99. There is no dust jacket, but remarkably, this isn't just a deluxe edition, because we've seen deluxe editions from Image Comics before. And here it is compared to a deluxe edition from Image Comics. And deluxe editions from Image are about the size of an omnibus, mainly the height, so you can get a better idea as to just how much taller this book is. So really what it reminds me of is those library editions, like this is the 7 to Eternity, also called the deluxe edition. So it's like one of those giant generator library editions from Image Comics, the Rick Remender stuff. That's awesome. I was not expecting that. Now, the price of this is $34.99. And yes, it does have a flat spine, so we'll look at the binding in a little bit. But we're going to crack this book open. I'm going to give you the pitch of this particular story, and we're going to check out the artwork and, of course, talk about what's collected in here. Okay, let's go ahead and open up this book. You have your end sheets right here. And your title page, the credits, Geoff Johns and Gary Frank. I love the fact that they're both together as storytellers. Love that. Brad Anderson's the colorist, Rob Lay being the letterer. And something you probably notice is Rob Lay getting the top billing. That's awesome. You don't see a lot of letterers getting recognition. Now, there is additional content here, and that's mainly from the 80-page giant. So let's talk about what's collected in here. Collected in here is Geiger 1 through 6. And then not all of the 80-page giant, but portions of it. But it's a lot of it, I will say that. And then there's extras in the back. The book has 272 pages and retails for $34.99. Now, I'm going to give you the pitch of the story, but if you already love Gary Frank, if you love Geoff Johns, and you're picking this up, you already know it. You can look at the extras if you want to. Let me give you the pitch. Pitch is pretty simple. This is set 25 years into the future. And 25 years into the future, we have a couple of people that are sitting down next to this crater, and they're discussing something, a legend, something that walks in the night that has been around for a while. It's been there for a few years and has been sort of like a protector, a myth, and whatever it is, it goes by different names. The Skull Man. They actually call him different things, like Joe Glow, the Man of Mass Destruction, the Walking Bomb, the Meltdown Man. I love that. I love that there's just this myth that they're talking about, the one who walks outside without a suit. Because as you can see, they have hazmat suits. So the way this is done, that's set 25 years from now, but 5 years from now is this scene right here, where we meet this family. This is Tracy and her kids, and this is her husband, Tariq Geiger. And what he's doing is he's made the shelter for his whole family because there is a threat of nuclear war that is happening. So Tariq, no matter what, is going to put his family in there. Now, this is set 5 years from now, but it's also set 20, oh my gosh, it's a little confusing, 25 years before these guys right here that are talking about this mythical creature. And as you find out in this page, the person they're talking about is Tariq Geiger. So how did this guy go from being a family man that's trying to protect his family from possible nuclear attacks to the glowing man? Well, as he's getting his family into the bunker, the little dog gets out, Molly, and the kids are like, oh, Molly's out. So he tells Tracy to stay in the bunker, no matter what, stay in that shelter. And he's getting shot. And it turns out that these neighbors, now you may have seen these people before in memes or in real life. Now, before I turn to the next page, if you can't stand animal abuse, if you can't stand animals being hurt in comics, well, we are talking about a nuclear blast, so, maybe this isn't the book for you, and I completely respect that. There are people that can't, I get it. But I'm going to go ahead and turn the page, though, because what ends up happening is they keep shooting him. They're threatening him. They want the shelter. They want him to yell at his family to get them out of there. But he's like, look, it's locked. It's done. He tells Tracy never to open that door until everything is safe. Now, these neighbors are so freaking crazy about getting this bunker, they end up shooting Molly, the dog. He's holding her, and he's like, I'll do anything to protect my family, even though they're trying to get him at gunpoint to open the door. So what happens? The nuclear blast does go off, killing everybody instantly. And 20 years later, so 25 years in the future, where we started the story right here, we have these people in hazmat suits, and it looks like they found the bunker where Geiger's family was staying. This is 25 years after that explosion. And they meet this strange man in a hood and a cape. I love the way that he looks. Very simple, but little complicated design there. What's going on with that piece on his chest? And what ends up happening is they start attacking him. He's protecting this particular shelter from anything, and he turns into this glowing skull man right here. So this turns out to be Tariq Geiger, who now has Barney with him, living with him, this mutated dog, and who's reading Junkyard Joe comics. That's really interesting because that comes to play a little bit later. He lives by himself. He's in his own little bunker, and he's tired of reading the same books over and over. Now, we shift this over to Vegas. So in Vegas, there's the King of Vegas right here that has it out for blood for the glowing man. Like, he really wants revenge on the glowing man for something that happened. Now, the rest of these issues, because this collects Geiger 1 through 6 and then part of the 80-page giant, does have a little bit of a flashback to the time before the explosion. And then we cut back here. Now, this is the last issue I'm going to be talking about, and this is where Tariq ends up taking on a new family outside of the bunker, where he meets a couple of kids that are trying to escape Vegas. Their mother was trying to get them out of there. She has a map to take them to safety, and he ends up just pretty much taking care of them. And that is Haley and her brother Henry, who are escaping Vegas, and the King in Vegas knows that these kids are out there, and he wants to seek out the glowing man right here. So he's taking it upon himself, well, him and Barney, to take care of these kids, while also taking care of the bunker. Now, before you ask, like, dude, is there an actual answer to a lot of the things? Is he ever going to be reunited with his family? Is there anybody really in there? Or is he Tariq Geiger? I can tell you that he is Tariq Geiger, or I guess what remains of him, if you will, because he's able to turn into this glowing man. And there is a reason for that, and it's all explained through a series of flashbacks. Now, the flashbacks are not just at the very beginning, they're also throughout the story. And it makes for an awesome story, especially not just his flashbacks, but the flashbacks of this young king right here whose face is messed up and his weird relationship with his family. And that's all I will say about it, because it's only 6 issues. Let's look at this 80-page giant, because this doesn't really spoil anything. So we have this 80-page giant right here that has stories from Milky Way, the Disco Queen, The Secret Origin of Barney, which is the very first story in here, Bonnie Borden, and even the character known as, or what could be, Junkyard Joe, Safari Bob, and then Goldbeard's Secret Treasure. So that's what this is. This has an anthology of just this different stories throughout the time of Geiger. They're not all in here, by the way. I don't think Junkyard Joe is in here. And you have different creators working on these particular stories. Like this is the story by Sterling Gates and Kelly Jones right here. And there is a continuation of Geiger. It just kicked out, I think it kicked off this past May, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe April. No, it was April 2024, under the Ghost Machine label, and that is being published by Image Comics too. So I'm assuming there's going to be more of this particular story, and then of course what is known as the Unnamed Universe. So you do have Junkyard Joe here, and this is kind of the timeline of the Unnamed Universe, which they're coming out with comics these days. So here's all the extras right here, the Vegas setting, Tariq Geiger's X-rays, and then variant covers. So you have somebody like Eric Larson right there, Jason Fabok, who is actually working on Ghost Machine books right here, Gary Frank. And I love Gary Frank. This isn't the first collaboration they've had together. As a matter of fact, later this month, Gary Frank and Geoff Johns Superman is coming out in absolute format. It's beautiful right here. This is a Ghost Machine cover A and cover C right there, featuring those particular characters, Ghost Machine characters, the cover process. And then there's like a little handbook back here when their first appearance was. And your end sheets. Now let's look at the binding and the build of this book. The book has 272 pages, and it does have sewn binding right there. Not much of an eye, but honestly, when you have 272 pages, do you really need much of an eye? It is printed in this really thick, glossy paper stock. And here is what spread pages look like. So there's just a little bit of gutter loss, but if you hold it down, yeah, you could see the whole thing right there. I don't want to spoil the other spread pages, kind of just wanted to show this one. But I'm really impressed for a first time, I guess, well, it's not like Image hasn't printed big library editions like this, but a first time deluxe edition from Ghost Machine. So I can't wait to see their other works collected like this. And that, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing this book, don't forget to check out our sponsors.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltscomicshop.com, and you can use the code nearmintcondition at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and build of this book. Let me know in the comments down below if you have the trade paperback, or if you're picking this up, if you're a fan of Geoff Johns and Gary Frank, or if you're just trying something else out from Image Comics and you haven't read this and you're going into it blind. I would love to know all of that in the comments section. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. And one more thing, if you've read it, what you think of this particular story. That's it, everybody. Stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.